Hi boys and girls, this is Miss Maddie here. I am at the Whittier Elementary Greenhouse and I have been growing some seeds in here for the last couple of weeks. So I wanted to take you on a little tour of what my seeds have turned into over the last few weeks. Can you think of any plants I might be growing in there? If you've been in the greenhouse before, there's some plants that will look really familiar. So think about that as we go on our tour. Let's check it out. Okay. These are all of the plants I've got in here. Do you recognize any of them? Ooh, what are those pink ones? And check this out. This shelf is just exploding with life. Oh my goodness. Let's explore some of them more closely. So if any of you visited the greenhouse in the fall, you probably saw that we had one bed that was overflowing with kale. And that kale was really important. We used that kale to put into our Friday smoothies. Does anybody remember the Friday morning smoothies I did with Miss Kelsey? Those smoothies used kale as one of the main ingredients, and all of that kale was grown in this greenhouse. I decided that I loved that kale so much I needed to grow a lot more kale in here. Did you see any kale when I showed you the quick overview of the whole greenhouse? Can you picture where that kale was? Let's check it out. So down here in this bed is where we had a ton of kale in the fall. And I decided to put some more kale back in here because it grew so well in this bed. So you'll see that my kale plants are doing really well in here. They're not quite ready to eat yet. They need a few more weeks. And then I'll be able to make tons of yummy kale chips and kale salads. Let's come over here to my root vegetable bed. Do any of you recognize this plant? These are the tops of a root vegetable. Some of you might remember learning about this root vegetable in Harvest of the Month lessons. This vegetable grows in a few different colors. It has vitamin A, vitamin C. Can you guess what it is? All of these plants are carrots. Now, they're not quite carrots yet. They still need quite a bit more time before they're ready to be eaten. Carrots can take between 70 and 90 days to grow all the way. I'll harvest one for you now so you can see what stage these baby carrots are in. Let's go back here. All right, you think there's a carrot down here? Not yet. But look at that root that's starting to form. That's going to turn into our carrot. Nice. Now remember, I said this is our root vegetable bed. That means there's another root vegetable growing in here. This is one example of that second root vegetable. Can you think about what this is? Do you have any guesses? Some of you might have used this root vegetable to make Valentine's cards. You can use this root vegetable to make dye and paint. This vegetable also has vitamin A and vitamin C. It's got potassium too. If you were thinking that this root vegetable is beets, you're correct. Now, just like our carrots, these beets are not ready to eat yet. There's a little one right here I'll harvest for us to look at. No beet yet. Remember, since they're root vegetables, the part that we eat grows under the soil. So all of this right here is going to grow into a beet. That means when these beets grow even bigger in a few more weeks and they are ready to eat, the beet is going to be under the soil. So we won't be able to see it. It's down under the soil. It's a root vegetable. The part that we eat is the root. You may have noticed while I was giving the tour of the beet bed that there are some other plants in here that aren't exactly beets. Do you recognize this plant? This is a leafy green vegetable. You can put it in salads or on some sandwiches. That's right, it's lettuce. I did not plant this lettuce in this bed. There must have been some seeds left over in this soil from last season. And when I started watering the soil, the seeds started to grow. Look, there's another small lettuce plant over here and another one right there. Those are called volunteer lettuce plants because I didn't plant them intentionally. They kind of just volunteered themselves to grow in this bed. Now I want to show you two plants that I'm very excited about. In the back here, we've got some snap peas started. Do you know why I put these wooden stakes in the snap pea pot? I put the stakes in the snap pea pot because snap peas like to climb. So they are going to find these stakes and start climbing up them. And then they'll start producing their pea pods, which are those sweet, yummy green pods that you can eat. They're just delicious. And in front of the pea pot, I have some other plants that love to crawl and climb up wooden stakes and trellises. These are bean plants. So these beans eventually will start to crawl up these wooden stakes. And then they'll produce their delicious bean pods that we can eat. Over in this bed, I have some more yummy roots. Did any of you recognize this plant from my first quick sweep over all of the things growing in here? What could these be? They are radishes. And these radishes are some of the quickest growing plants that I've got in the greenhouse. I planted these radishes on the same day that I planted those carrots over in the other bed. The radishes grow very quickly. That's why I like to plant them so much, because they're ready in just a couple of weeks and I can enjoy them first thing in the spring. Let's see, I think I can harvest one and show you the full plant. Which one should I pick? Ooh. Here's a little weed I'll pull out. I'm gonna harvest this one because it looks huge. Let's see. Nice. Should I have a taste? My first radish bite of the spring. Mmm. Did you know that radishes are white on the inside? At least this variety are. Yum. Not too spicy. Got some dirt on my lip. That is a delicious radish. I grew all of these radishes so that when you all come back to school, they'll be ready for you. Can't wait for that. Now in front of our radishes, we have some flowers growing. They don't really look like flowers yet, do they? What part of the plant do you see here? Can you see the root? No. Can you see a stem? Not really. The only part of the plant that I'm seeing right now are the leaves, right? So after the leaves, we can expect a stem to come out. Then off of the stem, hopefully we'll see some flowers. I'll have to keep you updated about how these bachelor button flowers are going to grow. Back here, behind the radishes, we have another leafy green vegetable. Can you recognize this leafy green vegetable? You could put this in salads or on sandwiches. You could also put this in smoothies too. This is spinach. Now that we've seen the plants that are growing in the raised beds on the ground, let's look at some of the other plants that are up on the shelf. Most of them are herbs. Herbs are plants that are used to flavor foods. Can you think of any herbs right now? If you've ever made pizza or pasta or some kind of sauce or soup, you might have used herbs to flavor it. Let's see what we've got growing in here. Wow. Do you recognize this plant? This is parsley. It kind of looks like cilantro, so if you were thinking that it's cilantro, you're pretty close. Parsley is used to flavor foods. It's an herb. Let me jump over to our other herb that we've got growing. Do any of you recognize this one? It smells delicious. If I rub my finger on a leaf and then smell my finger, yum! Back here we've got the same plant, but a different variety. That one is green. This one is purple. If you're thinking that this is basil, you're correct. We are growing a ton of basil because we love to have basil to make pesto in the spring and the summer. Okay, friends, up here we have a plant growing that goes really well with basil, especially on things like pizza or pasta. You can make pesto and eat these with the pesto, or make a pizza and put this and that basil on it. These are little tomato plants. They're about ready to be put into larger pots so that their roots can spread out and grow. But right now, they are just growing in these little cells. Do you see how that stem is fuzzy? It's pretty neat, huh? So on our tomato plants, you can see the stem, the leaves. What do you think is the next plant part that we'll be able to see? We have roots, stems, leaves. The roots we can't see. They're under there. Roots, stems, leaves. What's next? Flowers. Once our tomatoes are in some bigger pots and it warms up a bit, they'll start producing beautiful yellow flowers. And out of those yellow flowers will come the next plant part, the fruit. And those are the big juicy tomatoes that these plants will produce. Now inside of the fruit, or inside of the tomatoes, that's where the seeds will be. So stay tuned for an update. I'll keep showing you these tomato plants as they grow. And we'll see if we can watch them produce flowers and then fruits. The last plant I wanted to show you are our cucurbits. That is the family that cucumbers and melons are part of. So these are our cucumber plants. You see that nice yellow flower? What is going to grow out of that flower? If you thought a cucumber would grow out of that yellow flower, you are correct. The fruit, or the cucumber, will grow out of that beautiful blossom. Now, these cucumbers were planted a bit early, so they are huge right now. And eventually they need to get moved into a raised bed on the ground. But they can't go outside until it's a bit warmer. So for now, they are safe in here, just growing away. Stay tuned to see how many more blossoms we see next week and the week after that. I wonder how many flowers there will be by then. Well, boys and girls, I hope you enjoyed that quick tour of the Whittier Elementary Greenhouse. Remember all of the plants that I showed you, and check back in a week or two when I post an updated tour to see how our plants are progressing as they grow. How big do you think the carrots will be? You'll have to stay tuned to find out. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye.